how do you get to move to Singapore? How do you get the visa? So I want to give you a comprehensive option if you want to work in Singapore or move to Singapore. You serve the army, that would definitely help with your PR. So there are a lot of this like false information circling around. It's not like, oh, you serve the army, that's how you can get PR. It's only when you become a PR, then you are eligible to serve. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Koala. A lot of Singapore media are very kind to me. They've been featuring me and my channel multiple times. And just this week, another media just featured Koala again. I guess a lot of journalists are subscribers of Koala's channel, so thank you so much for supporting. I thought that I would do a part 2 today, and since Singapore is such a great place, a lot of people want to move to Singapore, not only individual but also family and business that want to expand to Singapore, Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific. Great law protection. By the way, if you want to learn more about Singapore tourism or international culture and travel, do follow my other new channel, Koala Travel Solo. That channel dedicated for promoting internationalism, humanity, culture, and all of that. Got this question from my audience a lot, like how do you get to move to Singapore? How do you get the visa? How do you get PR and citizenship? So I want to give you a comprehensive option if you want to work in Singapore or move to Singapore. What are some of the choices of work paths? So I hope this video can help you. In Singapore, so there are different kind of work paths. Before I get to PR, I want to talk about some of the different passes that Singapore offers to the different workers to work in Singapore. So there are different category of work passes based on the amount of income that you make. For construction worker or the people who make less money, there are different type of work passes. And for most of the professional people like me, we usually start with EP. So before you get a VP, you need to have a sponsor company who will employ you, help you to apply for the principal approval. So once you get approved and you move to Singapore, you can take that invitation approval to go to the government to exchange for your EP. I want to talk about this because I personally gone through a long process of navigating Singapore legal status because I want to stay here, so I want to figure out how to protect myself in case of bad economy or your employment situation. So I'm developing my own strategy of navigating legal status in Singapore, and that's why I also provide such kind of advisory to my clients, help company to launch their business into Singapore, and also help individual to move to Singapore. So for EP, it's pretty straightforward, but the risk of having an EP is if you somehow get laid off by this company, you only have 1 month to stay in Singapore to find a new job. Otherwise, you have to leave Singapore right away. So there are a lot of risks involved. In order to protect yourself, there's a more advanced EP. It's called PEP that require you to have certain amount of income in order to apply for a PEP. That's a really good safety protection for your legal status because in case you got laid off by this company, you can still stay in Singapore to look for another job or just to reside here for a couple more years if you like. So there are a lot more room for you to navigate your personal life. So it's a lot more flexible. And most of the time, this kind of PEP holder, you have pretty high income level because as you know, Singapore government would not want to take someone in if you can contribute to their economy. So you just add to their burden or liability. So you have to be relatively successful in your career in order to apply for this PEP. I know a lot of my friends who is holding PEP, which is a really good option, but once the PEP expires, you can't renew anymore. So there's only a very short period of time when you can hold PEP. Also, another pass that has becoming more popular, but quite hard to get is entrepreneur pass. So there are this entrepreneur pass that they attract the specialists or expert in this industry, and mostly in the tech and AI and all of that industry to come to Singapore to build such kind of business. You have to go through a high level of selection in order to be qualified for the Entre Pass. So I personally know quite a lot of friends who got this pass and stay in Singapore. And of course, besides this work pass, and there's also long-term pass and short-term pass. if you are a family of someone who is working here, I know a lot of my INSEAD classmate partners got such kind of pass staying in Singapore during their studying or working in Singapore. So it's also quite popular. And of course, there are short-term passes, student pass. I personally also got my student pass when I was studying in INSEAD in Singapore. So that was the first pass when I moved to Singapore the very first time. And for other normal workers, such as maybe you work in beauty salon, hair salon, I saw there are a lot of Malaysians. I think just like Singaporeans don't really want to do that kind of job. So there are different kind of passes for that because their wages are lower than the office people. Most of the time, not 100%. So sometimes people would just say like, oh, I've been applying for PR for many years and I always got rejected. How can I actually get my PR proof? You know, there's no formula for the PR. Principle of it, like as I said in my last video, which is basically you have to have significant economic contribution because Singapore government doesn't want to take someone with a lot of burden for the country. When they want immigrant, they look for the immigrants with high skill set or some specialty field that can help with the country development. Not everyone can get their PR approved right away. I know there are some exceptional individuals got invited to get their PR. That was like much early on, but I think for these few years, I haven't heard anyone got invited to get their PR or citizenship. You just need to continue to apply. And of course, there's some strategy around it, like what you should put on the application form, what you should not. That's like another technique. For example, you should show you have commitment to the country. How to show commitment? There are many ways. One way is like getting married to the local, and there's also other ways, maybe having your business set up here or have investments in the country. So all of these elements can show that you have commitment to Singapore. So I personally have been doing global expansion for business for many years. So I help business set up their offices in Singapore, launch their product and services into Singapore, Southeast Asia, and Asia Pacific in general. I see this kind of project not only as the knowledge of the product or the industry, but also combined with the understanding of the local culture and business practices, which is kind of like my travel hobby. And maybe you need to apply for license and build business cases, which is exactly what I'm doing, like storytelling. You may need to do fundraising and pitching. All of those are storytelling. And on the other side, it's about negotiation as well. You may need to negotiate with your local distributors, your business partners, your customers. So now I pivoted my business, kksuccess.com, to be focused on storytelling and negotiation because these two elements basically apply to all the areas that we experience every day. No matter if you're doing job interviews, telling your story, renting a house, negotiating with your landlord, tenants, even negotiating your salary or pitching to a client's fundraising, all of this is about negotiation and storytelling. When you apply for PR, there are a lot of unspoken rules, and it's really reasonable for any governments to set their criteria on who they want to accept as their citizens or residents. It's just like when you go dating, and of course you don't have race discrimination, but maybe you have preferences on Caucasian, Asians. It's just part of how our brains function. You look for some qualities and characteristics that you resonate the most and that you feel most comfortable with. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of my audience would say like, you serve the army, that would definitely help with your PR. So my reply is that nope, it's not really relevant because PR focused on economic contribution. So I still remember the PR renewal form. There's no place on the form that allows you to write that, oh, you serve the army. The only two lines that you can write is your company and how much you make. So the government will only look at you from the economic contribution standpoint. It's not like, oh, you serve the army, that's how you can get PR. It's only when you become a PR, then you are eligible to serve. So you see this chicken and egg problem. You can't really do it the other way around. It's more like as a criteria. Once you have this criteria, then you're allowed to do so. So there are a lot of this like false information circling around, which I think it's not true. Recently, I just got a message from my ex-coworker. She applied for Singapore citizenship, and after waiting for 14 months, and she got rejected. Seriously, citizenship is just as difficult as PR in terms of the acceptance percentage, but the pool is smaller, so the acceptance pool is even smaller. Anyway, I really hope that this video can help a lot of you guys who are living in Singapore as a foreigner or someone you know who wants to move to Singapore and wondering how to move to Singapore. Maybe you're running a business elsewhere and considering setting up your business in Asia. I hope this video can help you clarify some of your concerns and questions. Do check out my website kksuccess.com. If you need help, do contact me there. I offer first-time free consultation. Make sure to give a like, subscribe, and share my video. And don't forget to play all my videos on my second new channel, Koala Travel Solo. It would be great. At least you play them at the background when you're cooking, doing some stuff. And hope to see you at the comment section below. And love you guys.